Love is not abusive. This post was on one of the social media groups, and this lady says that she's been married for almost 9 years with 2 kids, and it was a love marriage. And she says before they were married, they fought over silly things, and that she has no university education, and that her husband is highly educated, but he insults her about this, and he calls her useless and other horrible names, and that he is ashamed of her, and that he beats her in front of her kids, and when they go out in public, he screams at her, calling names. And this was not how it was before, but she also says that despite all this, he's a good father, but she cannot live with him any longer, and her only concern is that she doesn't have a job, nor does she have financial support to leave, and that she can't bear this any longer. This is a classic scenario of a narcissistic relationship, and I would like to say that this is very common in closed societies and cultural societies, where how do I start without mentioning? Okay, let me take how do I say it without mentioning groups, or because these are very classic examples of manipulation. It comes from cultural backgrounds of where people are brought up. Say, now looking at this, right, it's at the outset I understand that this guy, although they were in a loving relationship prior to the marriage, he approached her because of her personality of being soft-hearted, of her not having an education and not having financial support, right? These are things that attracted him towards her, so that he knows that when she is in this marriage, when she is committed in this relationship, she will not have a fallback option. She will not have a plan B to resort to if he mistreats her. So he takes this as an advantage for him, and he exploits this, right? It is not all men are the same, but there are men like this who specifically want women who are very innocent, are very naive, very who will go all out for them. So they take advantage of this, and this stems most likely from the family background this man has come from, because if his father treated his mother the same, that's exactly how he would treat his future wife or his wife. But this is not necessarily the case, because there are some men who do rebel against this and say that no, this is not what my father is doing, is not correct, so I will be a better man. There are instances where men do change, little boys do change, but so most likely it's not the case, right? There are people who just blindly follow due to the cultural upbringing. I wouldn't say cultural, but a close-minded upbringing, because cultural is I think it's a very wrong word to use. So like what I'm trying to convey rather in this is that when you're a woman, right, you need to understand that it's a natural tendency of any woman to be like, oh, he loves me, he loves me a lot, and he's my life, and the whole emotional entanglement, emotional commitment. Whereas this is not often seen from the guy's point of view, especially if he's a narcissist. I mean, I'm not generalizing here, but when this when there's such a commitment from the woman's side, it's difficult for her to get out of it. And so what do you do? Like, I know everybody does this mistake. It's a common mistake, and you don't have to beat yourself up for this if you make this mistake. But you need to make sure, right, whether it's yourself or somebody else, before you get into a committed relationship, you need to ensure that you have a financial backing for yourself, from your family or from your own hard-earned money. Either way is fine. You need to have a specific savings where you can get out of any relationship the next second the man mistreats you. So make sure when you work, you don't spend all your money on whatever, makeup or pampering yourself, right? This savings should be untouched for the rest of your life, no matter what age you are. Whether you have 2 kids or 10 kids is irrelevant. What is most important is whether your partner is respectful towards you, whether your partner is caring and loving towards you, whether your partner is honest and loyal towards you, because these are very important aspects in a relationship. And don't forget, it's all relationships are a two-way street. That means you give and you receive. You don't keep giving all the time and not receiving less. Like, for example, you don't always give 80% and receive just 5% back on a daily basis. Yes, there are fluctuations. Not every day do you give 80% and receive 10%. There are days that you receive 80% and you give 10%, right? So there's a fluctuation. If there's a fluctuation, it's all right. But if this 80-10 happens on a daily basis, that is a destructive relationship. It is not beneficial for you. So you need to get out of it. One of the 2 constraints, 2 roadblocks, the 2 obstacles, the 2 things that stop you from getting out of an abusive relationship is, one, that the fact that you're bothered, you give importance to what society will talk of you, of your relationship status. That is a concern to people who live in a cultural society, right? And it's common for people to talk about it. You don't have to be afraid of it, because people do need something to talk about at the end of the day, right? And the more they talk about it, it's good, because your story might help another woman out there or another girl out there. So that's sorted. You don't have to worry about the social talk. Let them do the talking, right? Second is, you need to have a financial plan, a financial backing. You need to have an education, no matter what education that is, whatever field you like, do something that you love. Work in a field that you love and you enjoy spending time in. You earn your money, you save your money. You have a savings account where you keep untouched, that in an event, as I said, any day, at any age, whether you have 2 kids or 10 kids or 20 kids, right, you're going to get out. And that is your safe, how do I say it? That money is for you. That money is going to come and help you the day you decide to get out, the minute you decide to get out, right? The very second you decide, I'm done with this relationship, you have a backup plan. And that money will help you find a new place to stay temporarily. You'll still have your job, so you will still have your income coming in. You basically have a new place to go to, right? And you don't have to look at whether it's cheap, what the rent is, how much the rent is, because you have this money which will come to help you. This should be your number 1 backup plan before you get into a relationship. I know this may sound negative to some people, but this is being precautious. This is being very, very precautious of yourself and showing yourself the utmost self-love that you can show yourself. And also, this displays a lot of self-respect. You're telling this man, right? And I know I'm focusing on women here, but this should be taken as a gender neutral video, because both parties can be abusive. So by having this backup plan, by having a structured life for yourself, right? Having plan B is you're respecting yourself, and you're telling your partner that you're respecting yourself and that you will not accept any less respect from him or her. And the moment you detect such negative feedback from your partner, that you're ever ready to walk out of the relationship and it doesn't matter to you, right? This puts people in their place. It shows that you're not to be fooled around with, right? And you ought to be taken serious. You're fun, you're loving, you're caring, you're committed, but you have self-respect. All of this boils down to self-respect and putting your foot down and saying, no, I'm not allowing this behavior to continue. For you to do that, you need to have a financial backing. Some people don't have a family to back up, so that's okay. You don't have to feel sad. You love yourself, right? We have moved into a social thought, social thinking of self-love. This is the highest form of self-love, looking out for your future, yourself. And then if you have kids involved in this whole dramatic experience, it's going to be hard, but it's going to benefit the kids, because if you are staying in this abusive relationship, you're only teaching them that this abuse is normal, that this abuse, this disrespectful behavior is normal. No, it is not normal. The moment you decide to get out, the moment you decide to end things, you're teaching your kids that they too should respect themselves. They too should have a backup plan. They too should look after themselves and cultivate self-love at a young age. That is a very, very powerful lesson. Very, very educative lesson for every single child out there to know. Right? And they should be able to understand that just because you are in a relationship where you don't receive love doesn't mean that you have to remain in that relationship. And you're telling your kids that you can find love again. That it is not one person that you are stuck with depending on love, and that you're not depending on somebody to love you. And there are so many people out there who are ready to love you, and you are willing to seek happiness, and you are willing to live your life with joy, with happiness, with meaningful relationships, with a successful career, irrespective of what field you are in, right? These are the messages sending your kids. So do not for a second doubt your decision of getting out of an abusive marriage. You have to do it for yourself, for your kids, and for the future generations. Right? Remember, this is a very, very strong message that you're giving by your acting of leaving this abusive relationship. And in the long run, a lot of men are going to change. It's possible. Though people say it's not possible, it's possible. Because, and most importantly, it's the social talk that binds women in these abusive relationships. But see, I see the social talk as a plus side, because the moment people talk about it, there are other people who are hidden victims who don't want to come out of it. It'll help them come out of it. So you are acting as a person who has taken a stance to get out of it, and you're motivating those who are having similar issues to get out of that issue as well, which is amazing, like beyond amazing. So don't worry about the social talk. And besides, people who do, so there are people who would create false stories about you as well. So how to deal with that, right? You're going through this mental traumatic experience, you've been abused and all that. And when you hear these people talk, it's going to be really, really hurtful. But think to yourself, are these people paying my bills? Are these people in this relationship experiencing what I'm going through? The mental trauma, the physical trauma. Are these people going through it? No. The people who are talking are just talking, because that's what they do. You're the one who's going through this traumatic experience. You're the one who's experiencing pain and being hurt. You're the one who's being who's not allowed to experience love, not allowed to experience a peaceful life? Why are you concerned about another's opinion? Or the fact that they're talking negatively about you? Why does it even concern you? It is your life, it is your happiness, and it is in your hands. You have to get out of it. And it is not easy, but it is possible. Because you can do it for yourself. That is the highest form of self-love possible that you can do for yourself. So do not for a second doubt. I mean, you can see in this last paragraph that she says that she can't take it anymore, that she needs help. That's amazing. The fact that she decided to get out is amazing. So if you are going through an abusive relationship, you need to decide to get out and seek help. There are so many people out there who are willing to help you, from attorneys to social activists, anybody out there, right? There are so many social groups on Facebook, on Instagram, that you can reach out to people, or websites, or there are so many seminars that's conducted. You can reach out to people. It's easily accessible these days, so do not make it complicated for yourself, because there are so many people willing to help you. You need to decide to get out and get out. First, if you do not have a financial plan, you do not have a financial backing for yourself, you need to plan it out. You need to have a solid plan and get out. But you need to have that intention, that decision to get out of this relationship. Don't be afraid. You can do it. The law is there. The law will protect you. You need to seek help, professional help, and there are amazing individuals out there who will help you. Toodles. Take care. Stay safe.